All right, guys. So, you've hit a plateau. So let's go over some of the situations where you've actually hit it. Sorry, there we go. That feels more. All right. So some situations where you've hit a plateau in your exercise, whether you're losing weight or you're not gaining the amount of muscle that you'd like to gain. And I'm going to go over both of them because you're going to eventually plateau in all of them. And let's go back to the concept of adaptation. You have to consider that the body itself is just trying day by day to survive. So there's this concept of adaptation. And to put it plainly, let's say you go somewhere and it's really hot. Initially, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's so hot. But once you've lived there a while, the heat isn't as bad. You've adapted to it. Or cold weather, you have people that, they're from up north and they're like, 30 degrees outside. Most of us would be freezing. They're out in shorts because they've adapted to a degree. So we always have to think of our bodies as far as caveman days. It's adaptation, survivability, and moving from there. So you're on a certain diet. And I've never been one for huge calorie restriction or starving yourselves. That's the last thing I want to do, which is why I kind of don't like people really counting calories so much, because it kind of makes people starve themselves. I like the concept of several feeds a day. I'm able to eat. I have no hurry to eat. I know another meal's coming. And you should never be in a situation where you are starving yourself to see any kind of gain. So if you're on a diet and you're not losing weight, the solution is never starve yourself more. One, I would look at your macronutrients. I would definitely try to see, especially because, the diet that we follow and that, I pretty much believe in for most people is a low carb, high protein diet. You need to see if a lot of times when we start the diet, we're very strict about it, but then we start letting a few net carbs in here, net carbs in there, and we find this product and this product, and you're like, oh, it's got low net carbs, and we begin to combine it. So for example, I have my low carb tortillas, 4 per each. I usually eat 2 if I'm going to eat a meal, and then I put stuff in there. So the carbs start to add up. Then I'm like, oh look, I have this, found this salsa, and I had that, and before you know it, maybe those carbs are going over that 15 grams, which is the number I tell you guys to kind of hit. 15, no more than 15. Less than 10 would be best per meal, especially if you're eating 6 meals like me. But 15 would be the max I would ever hit net carbs per meal. And I say that simply because as a paramedic, anytime that I responded to a situation where someone had a hypoglycemic emergency, the oral glucose we give them is 15 grams of glucose. So that is enough to take someone from hypoglycemia back into a normal homeostatic state within the body as far as glycogen is concerned. So reevaluate, start looking at your diet. That's the first thing I would do. The other thing I would do is I would usually trade off some of the macros. I might lower the fat a little bit, increase the protein. Again, protein increases the thermogenic effect of food. So you're burning more calories. You're able to eat more calories and burn more calories by doing that. So that's another thing I would look at. So one, reevaluate your diet. Write down everything you eat per day and then add that up. And then, you might realize, hey, you know what? I'm accidentally sabotaging myself at these points. Because remember, when you're dieting, let's think of an IV bag. An IV bag is a fat cell. So a fat cell, you have them. There's 2 entrances into this IV bag and there's 1 exit. The exit is the one to burn the fat and make the IV bag smaller because fat cells grow and then they get smaller. If you get super lean, the fat cell doesn't go away. It just becomes super, super small, like an IV bag. If you get fat, then it increases. And it increases to a point and then it makes other ones. Your body will make a lot of them. It's really good at that. Again, adaptation and survivability. So if you're exceeding those 15 grams, what you are doing is, once again, you're shutting off the exit. The body says, hey, you know what? I don't need to pull any fat. I'm getting the energy I need through carbohydrates, and it shuts it off. So you need to be very careful about that. So that being said, you reevaluate your diet, never starve yourself, not the solution. Also look at the exercises you're doing. Sometimes you become very adapted to the cardio routine you're doing. Change it up, all right? Do different cardio. Force your body to adapt. Again, you're throwing your body into a situation where it is being forced to adapt. It doesn't know that you're doing cardio. It doesn't know that you're doing the bike. It doesn't know that you're doing the stairs. Your body only knows, hey, there's demands being placed on me for survival. It believes it needs it for survival. It doesn't know if it was a lion chasing your ass, a cheetah, you just someone else. But it's like, hey man, the next time I do this, I need to adapt to be better at it and become more efficient at it, which is why sometimes certain cardio routines, as much as cardio as you may be doing for that, your body's adapting to it because it's saying, hey, you know what? I need to find a better way to burn this energy because I keep getting chased by lions. It doesn't know. It doesn't know you're doing it. All right. Again, your body is built to survive, not for aesthetic purposes, not for us to look like cover models, but to survive and get you through stages of famine and keep you from getting eaten alive. All right. So exercise routines, as well as muscle building. That's another thing. I'm going to throw out the huge fallacy. I hear this all the time, and it frustrates the hell out of me. High reps are for fat burning, low reps are for muscle building. If that was true, I chew gum a lot. So and people chew gum a lot. High reps, I would do nothing but high reps. I'm doing nothing but high reps for my jaw. My jaw would be shredded if that was true. You cannot spot reduce. If I want, leaner arms and I do super high reps on my arms, it doesn't mean I'm going to burn fat on my arms. Your body burns fat from everywhere at once. There's no such thing as spot reduction. Don't be like, you know what? I need to burn more of the fat around my belly area, so I'm going to do more crunches. You'd probably be better off doing extra cardio than crunches because you're going to burn more calories. It's about pulling the energy from everywhere in the body. The body's not going to spot reduce. So that being out the window, let's look at muscle fibers. The body has type 1 muscle fibers, which are the slower ones, the endurance ones, the ones that take a longer time to fatigue. So people who are really good distance runners usually have higher type 1 muscle fibers. Your body will adapt slightly to building them depending on your lifestyle. But you're born pretty much with a predisposition for those muscle fibers, and it varies from person to person. All right. So no one is equal when it comes to physical achievement. Just like, some people are born prodigies and they can look at a page and they memorize the page. And some of us have to look at the page several times. Different muscle fiber types, different adaptations, different myostatin. It gets down to the cellular level where people have certain advantages, and you can get into hormones and all that other stuff. But I'm going to keep it simple. 2 types: type 1, endurance 1. And then you have the type 2, and type 2 has 2 different types. It has the type 2A and the type 2B, also known sometimes as type 2X. Those are the ones that most of us who lift weights use. The type 2B are the ones that Olympic lifters or power lifters will do. They're the ones that are, really fast. You really need to get a weight up. They're activated very quickly. Whereas bodybuilders would use more of the 2A. They use the 2B, but again, you're trying to incorporate all of them. So the thing about the type 2 muscle fibers is they do grow much bigger than type 1 fibers. So obviously, if I'm doing, a weight where it's never tiring me out, I'm just, constantly, curling the weight and it never tires me out, I'm only really working out the type 1, and those don't really lead to huge muscle growth. Hence the huge difference between what a sprinter looks like and what a long distance runner looks like. The long distance runner's busting his ass a long time because they run a lot, but they're not activating those type 2 muscle fibers that are the explosive ones. So when you're working out, a lot of times people fall into this 8 to 12 rep range. I prefer a higher 12 to 16, 12 to 20 rep range. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to shock the body. You can't just consistently come in and do the same routine. The body, again, needs to be shocked. It doesn't know what the exercise is. And the thing is, you have to stop ego lifting. That's the other thing. I see a lot of people ego lift. They're using body mechanics to lift it up. You're trying to put the emphasis on the muscle, not trying to just throw up the weight. So one thing I would suggest, and perfect example, I hurt my shoulder before I started my diet in December. So I was unable to really do anything really heavy with my shoulder, or with my chest. Caused me pain. So, and I'm still healing from the shoulder. So what I did is I did very high reps, and I'm talking 30 to 40 reps, sometimes 50 reps. I kept that, and it's called time under tension. I kept that muscle under consistent tension, and I did it for 4 weeks. And, you're going to tell me, hey, you can't build muscle off high reps. It looks like I got bigger. I did get bigger. I gained muscle on this, all right? Because I increased my protein intake, and I went ahead and did this adaptation. My body was like, hey, wait a minute. This is a different kind of stress on me from the environment. I need to adapt to this. And it did so because it said, hey, you know what? The next time I'm doing this exercise, he's activating the type 1, type 2, type 2B, or 2A, 2B. He's activating them, and it's under tension a long time. I need to grow more muscle fibers, and I need to repair these muscle fibers so that the next time I do it, I can keep up to that rep range. So it's pretty good every now and then to completely change that up. You don't always want to be lifting heavy. Again, if you lift heavy, you're only hitting the type 2. Okay, that's basically what powerlifters are doing, which is why, you look at some bodybuilders versus powerlifters. Powerlifters are huge, but bodybuilders will have much bigger muscles usually. Not compared to strongmen, but strongmen, I'm going to get into their training regimen is actually a lot of time under tension. If you look at it, they're not doing just, one bench press. They're doing, they're carrying something huge for a period of time. They're keeping all those muscles under tension, which is why strongmen are even so much more larger than anyone else. So you really want to put that. And that's the other thing about strongmen is they have so many different events that their body's always undergoing some form of adaptation. It's not just the 3 main lifts that powerlifters do, or the main, clean and snatch and jerk, or whatever the Olympic, I'm not into Olympic lifts, whatever Olympic lifters do. They're constantly putting that body under a different sort of stress so that it's consistently adapting and there's that growth occurring. And then they do, a lot of them do the main powerlifting lifts. A lot of them do the Olympic lifts, but they also engage in a lot of those different kinds of, just random exercises, pick up a car, bring it down, just all kinds of stuff. So you do want to change it up. That's the biggest thing I recommend you do. I had to do very high reps for shoulders. I had to do very high reps for chest. I've always done very high reps for my arms. I always do 20 to 30 reps, all right? I've swallowed my ego a long time ago. I'm not throwing up or trying to curl the 70s anymore. I'll be over there, and I don't care if you're lifting more than me left to me. You know what? I got the guns. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, who's got the bigger bicep, all right? So if I've got the bigger bicep and my routine's working, all right, that's what matters at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go for the look. Good for you that you're lifting more than me next to me. I don't care. And that's the other thing that kind of prevents people from kind of changing up the routine is you kind of have to leave the ego at the door. I can see someone lifting and, I've seen people lift tremendous amounts of weights and I'm like, wow, that's impressive. But at the end of the day, I really don't care what anyone else is lifting. I care what I'm lifting and I care what I'm trying to do. The other thing I do is I do drop sets, right? So I'll hit a certain weight. I'll do my 20 or 30 reps and then I immediately drop it and do another, 10 if I can. Drop it, try to do 10, drop it, try to do 10, drop it, try to do 10. I'm forcing that adaptation. And then once I've gone through a cycle about 4 to 8 weeks of doing that kind of exercise, I'll go back to my 12 to 16 rep range and do that and continue to try to do that. The other thing is, different exercises. Don't get comfortable with the same exercises. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, the body has no reason to try to adapt or change or grow to that stress because it's already adapted to it. All right. That's the thing is it knows, this is going to come. I've already adapted to it. I can do that. So that's my 2 cents on that. So if you hit a plateau, first, look at the diet. If weight loss is your thing, add up your macros, try to see where you can, what's sneaking in if something is sneaking in. Try to replace macros, try to replace fats with proteins, something that is more of a thermogenic effect. Then with exercise, again, don't be afraid to do really high rep burnout sets. I mean, those are going to activate all the muscle fibers. It's time under tension. Think about it. If I only do 5 reps versus I'm doing 40 reps, how much more effort did I actually put into those 40 reps? All right. My body doesn't know the difference. My body doesn't care whether, I'm curling the 70s or I'm curling the 30s. What it cares about is, hey, this constant stress is being put on me. And the stress was put on me for a much longer time with the 30 pound dumbbell. So it's going to see that as another stressor. So keep that in mind. All right, that's my 2 cents. I hope you guys learned something from this video. Again, any questions, feel free to ask us. That's what we're here for. That's kind of what the channel's all about, or this page is all about. And you'll have a great day, guys. I'm out once again, coming to you from my man cave. If you guys haven't seen it, very proud of my collection of. I have a lot of them all over the house. Oh, let me show you this one. This is my favorite one right here. Boom. As a teacher, it doesn't get any cooler than this one. Thank you, babe, for getting me this one. It's one of my favorites. All right, guys. I'm out. Y'all have a great one.